Once again, the Blue Jackets are dancing with the Ottawa Senators. Ryan Dzingel traded to the Jackets in return. The Sens acquire forward Anthony Duclair, a pair of second-round picks in 2020 and 21. Dzingel joins Duchesne, who was traded on Friday to Columbus. Dzingel recorded 126 points in 247 career games with Ottawa. He will be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. So the Sens have now shipped out their second and third highest goal scorers this season. This trade does give Ottawa potentially 8 picks within the first 3 rounds of the 2020 draft. As for Anthony Duclair, who comes back to Ottawa in this trade, Ottawa will be his 5th team since being drafted in 2013.
Another day and another trade for the Sens and Blue Jackets. Our senior hockey reporter, Frank Seravalli, is here. Frank, what do you think? Dzingel in a 7th for Duclair in 2 seconds.
I absolutely love this trade for the Columbus Blue Jackets. You look at it, Jarmo Kekalainen is swinging for the fences. You think about the unenviable position that he was in just a couple weeks ago. Artemi Panarin and Sergei Bobrovsky both likely leaving in July, and instead, nobody puts Jarmo in the corner. He is really going for it with this team. You look at the additions, I love it because not only has he added at 2 significant positions, Dzingel and Duchesne both having career years. He's strengthened down the middle. He's strengthened on the wings. His team will now be perfectly slotted. You can move all these guys that were probably playing up a little bit back down in the lineup, but he hasn't given up their 4 best prospects. Right. He's given up a first-round pick, and moving forward, he's given up some picks that, frankly, he may not even be here to be seen drafted in 2020 and 2021. This team is going for it. They've never won a series in playoff history. This is their chance to do it, and they recognize that with Panarin and Bobrovsky in the fold.
You mentioned the 2 seconds. They don't come in this coming draft. They're in 20 and 21 for the Senators. How good is that? They got a first in the previous trade, but...
Yeah, I think this was probably just as good as Pierre Dorion could do here, because you think about it, and it's quantity. He's getting some more quantity for these guys. Ryan Dzingel, I'm sure he wanted a first-round pick, and the market just wasn't willing to bear that. So now, moving forward with this team, the only problem is that it just further pushes back the timeline, because in 2020 and 2021, and when you're picking there, you're now looking at 2023, 2024 for these guys to really make an impact. That's a long way to go, and I think it further sort of underlines the decision that Duchesne and now Dzingel had made, in that this is a hockey decision. They'd be halfway through their next contracts already by the time that these pieces that they're getting in return would be making an impact.
So Dzingel is out, so Pierre Dorion has Mark Stone and a lot of hours until the deadline, and you think that really works for him?
Yeah, I think that sets up perfectly, because now you're in a position where you can potentially squeeze these teams that have lined up to get him. They're all in some ways bidding against each other. You look at a lot of them, the Winnipeg Jets, the Nashville Predators, the Central Division Arms Race. You've got the Calgary Flames, the Boston Bruins. They're all bidding for Mark Stone's services, and so moving forward, you can now potentially, if you wanted to, you get your price, sure, you pull the trigger, but you can wait until 3 p.m. if you want to. And the one thing that's interesting about the Dzingel situation and Stone and Duchesne, is that those 2 guys, he didn't allow their camps the opportunity to negotiate on a potential extension. But now with Mark Stone, if you want to, you can say to his camp, look, these are the teams that we're considering. If you could potentially work out an extension, now you can then get an exponential return, because for these teams, it's great to have Mark Stone as a rental. He could put your team over the top to win a Stanley Cup. But if you know that you have Mark Stone locked up for a long period of time, that changes everything.
Yeah, we've seen conditional picks go. If guys re-sign, you would lock in those picks. Yes, work for Pierre Dorion to do before Monday's deadline.